Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, men and women, episode 16 is here. The boys are live. We're back. We are joined by a very special guest that I'll get into here in a minute. But we're back, baby. Cam, how you doing, brother?
Yeah, we're back for episode 16 here. I know I say it almost every podcast, Ward. When we started this, would you have ever believed that we got to 16 podcast
I saw that
episodes?
we're almost at our 3 month anniversary. And that I think the 22nd is our 3 month anniversary. I might have to throw a pod party, Cam.
I love it. I love it. As you guys can see, we made some upgrades to the setup. Big Cam got a new camera here. I'm looking right into it. It's got a ring light and everything, Ward. These puppies, man, you'd think these cameras would be expensive. They're not. So if anybody's on the market, I'll drop the link in the description. But as we said, we're back with episode 16 here. Today is July 19th, 2023. I want to wish my Uncle Wheezy a happy belated birthday. The youngest of all the brothers. Happy birthday, Wheeze. I love you to death, brother. But like you said, Ward, we are joined by a very special guest, one that you played ball with, one that you grew up with. So I'm going to give you the stage and let you introduce him.
Just go ahead and give me the stage, Cam. I like it. This character right here. We've had our podcast going for 3 months. This is our third interview now. It has been harder to get this individual on than it is to go to the CVS, buy a lottery ticket, and win the $1 billion jackpot tonight, Cam. It has been an absolute chaos. Colby Covington chaos getting this guy on. But not to steal too much thunder from anybody, we are joined today by Drew Homschek, former Wake Forest high school football legend, then moved into University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, was a legend there, and an incredible story. Me and Drew grew up together from when we were about, 4 or 5 years old, and now Drew's joining the boys on the podcast. So, Drew, what's up, my friend?
Man, I had to come on out, man. I know it's been a little bit of a delay, but I told you I'd get on here sooner than later. But first off, want to thank y'all, man, for having me on. I know I'm like I said, a little bit of a delay, but I promised you I'd get on here and we'd get a great podcast going. So I appreciate y'all.
Hey, we got the boy on, and I just want to let all of our listeners know, if anybody wants any golf tips, don't go to Drew. Drew called me today. Drew, tell me how your golf round went today.
Man, as you know, we're getting a little older now. We're mid-20s or right around the corner. So as balls come to an end for a lot of us, which, I mean, stuff happens. We grow older and life moves on. Man, picked up snowboarding, as you can see in the background. Got a little portrait in the background, but snowboarding, picked up golf. I've played golf for a while now, but never took it too serious. I mean, you and I used to go out, shoot 110s, 120s, 130s, depending on the course, of course. But
the glory days.
I'm breaking 100 now in the mid, sometimes low 90s. So I'm getting there.
Hey, the big
That's
dog.
respectable.
Hey, the big dog Cam, what'd you shoot, at 85 the other day?
On the front, I shot a 43, but on the back, we don't need to talk about the back.
Hey, it's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah,
but
no,
you may not. Go ahead, Ward. I got you.
I was just saying, no, you're good. And I will say, for our listeners, it's hard to talk all of us at the same time on Zoom. We're all going to cut each other off, so you'll hear some interesting pauses. But Drew, we're so happy to have you on. We're excited to have you in this podcast. Cam, tell us what we're talking about today, my friend.
Yeah, well, I just want to say, I've got the pleasure to meet Drew a few times throughout our lives, with me and Ward becoming really good friends, and it's awesome to have him on the pod finally. This is kind of a hybrid episode that we're going to be talking some about his past at UNC, but he really wanted to get into like the nitty gritty of doing a podcast, and we're excited about that. So think of him as a third host instead of like a interviewee on this podcast. But last thing on Drew, man, he might not be good at golf, but if anybody's watching this right now, you better hide your wives and hide your daughters, because the man's out to steal some hearts. I'll tell you what.
The big dog's the heartbreak kid.
But before we get into it, I want to remind everybody they can find us on Spotify and YouTube. Just type in the Fat Katz podcast. That's KATZ. And find us on Instagram, TikTok, and now Threads at Fat Katz Pod. And I want to remind everybody one more time, this is the last chance to get your T-shirts. $20 for the Fat Katz Pod T-shirt. We're putting in the order this week and sending them out over the next couple weeks. So make sure you get that in. And just getting right into it, man. One of our favorite things here. It's episode 16. So we're going to start out with Ward, and then we'll go Drew. Let's go first favorite and forgotten, fellas.
First favorite forgotten. I love this segment. It's one of my favorite segments we do on here, and 16 is a really special number to me, so I can't wait to talk about it. But I think like everybody, the first person that came to mind when you think 16, you got to think the second greatest quarterback all time, the left-handed legend, Mr. Joe Montana.
He wasn't left-handed, Ward.
Never mind. Scratch that. Never mind.
That was Steve Young.
The San Francisco legend.
Yeah, you just got the two San Francisco quarterbacks. So that's all good. Drew, who's your favorite number 16 here?
Favorite 16's got to be Peyton. As we all know, he was 18 in the league, but at Tennessee, I mean, most people know he rocked number 16 at Tennessee. So
love it, Drew.
I messed you up there, Drew. I asked for favorite. So I got Peyton as my first. Like Drew said, he's the first guy that comes to mind as a Kentucky fan. Number 16 in that god-awful orange. I mean, Peyton Manning is definitely my first. And then we'll move on to favorite with Big Wade. Let's see it.
Dude, my favorite, and I can't wait to get into this. So this is actually the reason, funny story, the reason that I became a Redskins football team Commanders fan was this individual right here. This man came from Garner High School. He is 5'6", 165 pounds. He's the smallest guy to ever play in the NFL. Brandon Banks is his name. He wore 16 for the Redskins. He actually returned, I believe it was 6 kicks for touchdowns, 6 kicks and punts for touchdowns in 3 years. Well, anyway, this guy, he's from Raleigh. My dad was really good friends with his dad. He's a lot older than us. He played in like the early 2010s, like 2011, 2012, before RG3 got there. And, well, anyway, he got drafted to the Redskins. I knew him, so I was like, okay, I'm a Redskins fan now. And then he was balling out. I mean, being 5'6" and lasting in the league for 3 years speaks for itself. But so I have a lot of respect for this guy. He's the reason why I became a Redskins fan. Sometimes I wish he joined another team because it's been a hard life liking that team. But love it, Cam. That's my favorite 16.
Drew, let's hear it, brother.
Favorite? We going favorite or first?
Well, I think you did favorite for your first, so let's go first.
Yeah. First, like Ward said, Joe Montana, for sure. I mean, still one of the top quarterbacks to ever play the game. Had an amazing career on a couple different teams, but I mean, he's up there with Brady. He's up there with Manning. He's up there with all the GOATs when you talk quarterbacks across the board. So I'd say first, definitely going to have to be Joe Montana for me.
I love it. Ward, I think everybody in the room knows your answer here, but let's get to forgotten here, brother.
You didn't give your favorite.
Oh, I'm tripping, man. I'm all over the place. This 3-person thing is making me. Hey, man, I apologize to all the listeners. It's been a tough listen so far. Peja Stojakovic is my favorite. He was a forward for the Kings in the early and mid 2000s. This guy was tough, man. He played with Mike Bibby and White Chocolate and Chris Webber and all those guys. One of the most fun basketball players I remember watching growing up as a kid.
Hey, for our listeners out there, my co-host and good buddy Cam is a huge Bug Light guy. And Cam was out on the back porch slamming a few Bug Lights before the podcast. So he might get a little tossed up for words here in a little bit. But my forgotten, man, and, a lot of people are going to forget this, and this is a very controversial topic as well. Mr. Russell Wilson at North Carolina State University, by the way, went 3-0 against Chapel Hill, by the way. Sorry, Drew. That's a conversation for another day. But Mr. Russell Wilson wore 16 for 4 years at NC State and was an absolute legend to this day. He's the best quarterback that we've had. And a lot of people will say that he went to Wisconsin, which is BS because every game when they announce the starting lineup, he says, Russell Wilson, North Carolina State University.
That's not right either. He says,
yes, it is. I will pull up videos.
Go ahead, Drew.
Ward, if you want to go back and talk about the NC State UNC rivals,
let's do it.
Just go on YouTube real quick and just type in the Giovanni Bernard return. And let's also look at the last 10 years. 7-3 in the last 10 years. It is what it is.
Hey.
Just hey. All I know is in the last couple of years, while I was there, we pulled out a couple of wins on y'all. So that's all I know.
All right, Drew,
Drew,
who's your
let's hear
forgotten?
your forgotten here.
Forgotten. Probably a lot of people don't know this, to be honest with you. Ward, you probably didn't even know this. Cam might know it, but Ward, I doubt you knew this one. Johnny Unitas. I think he wore 19 on the Colts, but throughout his college career at Louisville, he actually wore 16. So it's kind of forgotten for me because, I mean, being the age that we are, we really never got to see him play. But I mean, he goes along with Montana, all those greats as well. So Johnny Unitas is my forgotten just because of the career he had, the longevity he had, and I mean, he had a great career at Louisville and then ended up being an all-star on the Colts. So
Love it.
Yep, I did know that. As a matter of fact, I'm a number one Louisville hater, so everything Louisville I know just about. But my favorite here to round it out is Vinny Testaverde. Think about it. We went 3 really good quarterbacks here to round it out. But national champ at the U in Miami, won the Heisman in '86. He was the number 1 pick in '87, 2-time Pro Bowler, and he played in the NFL for 20 years, Ward. 20 years this guy played. But that's our first favorite and forgotten. Not the cleanest segment we've ever done on this podcast, but hey, we get through it. Looking forward to the show. We've got Fans Fat Takes coming up. Top stories, obviously. We do have a Fat Katz draft. I don't know if we're going to do 5 slots or 3 slots yet. We'll probably get through it a little bit and decide then. We got some college basketball news, a lot of NFL news, and then we'll get into pet peeve and full plate empty stomach. But starting out with Fans Fat Takes, Justin Alford, again, we say it every episode, Mr. Consistency. He said, thanks for catching my mistake. It was Elijah Moore who pissed on the goalpost in Mississippi State, not DK Metcalf. So good catch on that one. He said, Ward, I can't believe Shady McCoy was an afterthought in the running back prime draft. I agree. We kind of just threw his name out there.
We did.
But he also said no Marshawn Lynch or Matt Forte. Kind of questionable. I did text you like literally 5 minutes after we finished the pod and said we totally forgot Marshawn Lynch existed.
We 100% did.
Matt Forte, fantasy legend, and he also said he wants to give a shout out to Ward for the Jamal Charles pool.
Love it. And then Marshawn Lynch too. He's a legend on the 1 yard line. First and goal, halfback dive. That's a conversation for another day as well. Sorry, Seahawks fans.
But yeah, shout outs to Stone, our resident Seahawks fan on the pod. But Ward, I believe this is a text message you got, so I'm gonna let you read this one.
So I was talking to my friend Dodge Cromos on the phone the other day, and Dodge said, he texted me and said, Ward, I'm drunk, sunburnt, just got back from the beach, and I still think the Suns are going to suck. Tell that to Cam. Cam, what's your reaction to that? You think the Suns are going to suck?
They could, they might not. I don't know, man. They got 4 stars. I mean, you put 4 stars together in the NBA, usually it works out for you, but I don't know. There's no role players and no depth on that team. Drew, I'd actually be curious. What is your take on the Suns this season?
Man, so I mean, I'm pretty sure Ward knows, but I'm a KD fan. So wherever, and people might not like it. People, oh, you're a traitor, you're this, you're that. I'm the type of guy where I'm kind of a players fan. So wherever KD goes is who I root for. When he was on OKC, I rooted for OKC. When he was on the Nets, I rooted for the Nets. When he was on the Warriors, I rooted for the Warriors. So now he's on the Suns. So last year was rough. It was rough across the board. I mean, they got to the playoffs, ended up getting knocked out. But, I mean, like you said, Cam, you've got Bradley Beal. You get rid of Chris Paul. You get KD's back. I mean, you've got a group of guys now that with 4 All-Stars, D-Book, all those guys, there's no reason and no excuse to not have a finals appearance and to not hopefully win it. So, I mean, KD's getting old. I mean, he's not too far behind LeBron with age and everything. So I don't know what he's going to be doing this year and how well he's going to be playing. I know he's had some injuries these last couple of years, but I mean, I hope, man, it's about time, because every time now that I have a conversation with anyone about KD, when he went to the Warriors, he only won because he had Steph on his side and he had Clay and he's a traitor and he's all this. But my thing is that I'm scared if they do win it this year, it's going to be, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker. It's going to be the same type of deal, which, I mean, hey, I guess you can say that, but I hope Katie can get him another one. I'd hate to see the same thing happen again that happened this past year. So, but like you said, there's no excuse. So,
I will say I have two concerns for the Suns team. One, there's only one basketball on the court, and two, there's no wing depth to guard the perimeter on this team whatsoever. And I'll throw in a third caveat. DeAndre Ayton is the softest big in the league. He doesn't rebound and he takes mid-range jump shots. He's 7'2", 270 pounds, and he plays like me out there.
Him and Wemby.
Those are three concerns I have. Drew, I do have a thank you present. I've got a Supersonics Kevin Durant rookie jersey that I got in about fourth grade that will not fit me, will probably fit you. So I'll send that your way.
Hey, I'll send you my address, man.
But moving on, my mom, Mama T, she wanted to let Ward know that her and Papa T did, in fact, know each other in 1980. They were in kindergarten when the Miracle on Ice happened. Ward, do you have any statement regarding that?
No statement. That is true love right there, Cam. Love to hear it. Shout out to all the true love out there.
Shout out True Love. My man Novak commented on the Instagram and the YouTube, and this is one of my best friends in Charlotte, Ward, just for context. This is on the Isaiah Belk interview, and I wanted to say, if whoever hasn't watched that interview, go watch it. That is one of the coolest sit downs we've ever had, me and Ward, and that guy is going to be a star one day. But anyways, Novak said God didn't have the courage to rain on Brian Hill's football practice at Butler, which I died laughing when I read that, because our coach, Ward, could literally look up at the sky and he'd tell one of the captains on the team, he'd just say, it's raining or it's not. So if it wasn't raining, he wanted the captain to go around and get everybody like, hey, we're not done. And he was like a 99% call. Like, he knew if it was raining or not. But lastly,
the weatherman.
Yeah, basically. But last week we got El Spring here, who's become only second really to Justin Alford on the comments. But he said he couldn't believe no Marshawn Lynch got mentioned. Again, we caught that. He wants to say, and this is an Ohio State fan we're talking about here, Ward. He said if Urban Meyer was at UGA, their mayor would declare martial law on the UGA football team for how many laws that they've broken, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And then in response to Pat Fitzgerald getting fired, he said Jim Tressel got canned for players selling memorabilia for tats. Head coaches are always the fall guy, which I agree with.
They are. They're the blame guy. Same with the league, too.
No, Drew, I do have a question. At your time at UNC, was Mac your head coach the entire time, or did you come in under Fedora?
Yeah, so I mean, kind of to dive into that portion, I got recruited by Fedora, and Fedora. So I came in, it was summer of 2018. Me, some of our other teammates that Ward knows, of course, Devin Lawrence, Javon Terry, Zach Gill was the class before me. He was there already. And I came in 18, so got recruited by Fedora. My freshman year went by. Fedora ended up getting fired. I think we won I think we were 2-9. So everyone kind of knew throughout the season that, like, hey, that might happen. So when it came around, they ended up pretty much across the board. I think we held on to Coach Gillespie and Coach Thig. Gillespie's now he's a running backs coach for Bama now. Coach Brown came in 2019, pretty much turned the team around, brought in some great coaches. I mean, good coordinators. I mean, we had the talent. Talent was there. Unfortunately, 2019, so my sophomore year, tore the ACL, MCL, tore everything across the board on my knee. Missed the whole season. 2020 came around, COVID hit. And that's when I kind of realized, I was like, man, 2019 was the year that I needed to make the impression. So I got hurt, and so I kind of lost that opportunity. But I've always stood by everything happens for a reason. So I didn't really let it get to my head. I mean, it's one of those things when you have surgery and everything like that. I mean, you see all this weight being lost after you've gained 25, 30 pounds going into college. But 2020 came around, COVID hit. I mean, it shocked all of us. The season was really screwed up across the board. Some conferences were in, some were out. We ended up playing right before the season started. I decided to hop in the portal along with probably 10 or 15 other guys that were in my class and who I played with. Ended up getting some shouts from some smaller schools, similar schools to who I got like recruited by before I went to UNC. And I really realized I had to make a grown man decision. I was like, do I just finish out my degree here at UNC, or do I go to another smaller school that could be, I know I had some schools out in Kansas, really all across the country, a lot of smaller D1, some D2s. And so I had to make a decision. Well, do I stay at UNC, finish out my degree, get my degree and graduate? Or do I go off and play at another school and who knows what the hell happens?
Yep.
So I ended up finishing out at UNC. It's one of those things where it didn't necessarily go as planned on what I expected was going to happen when I got to UNC, the path that it took me through and everything. But like I said, I always lived by everything's happened for a reason in life. I mean, no matter who you are. So there was a lot of growing moments. It made me mentally stronger for sure across the board as a person. But I mean, man, I miss ball every day. But I'm not going to say I regret the decision I made going to UNC because I met a lot of great people there. I had a lot of opportunities school-wise, now in the business world. So it's one of those things, man. It was rough. I mean, I loved it, man. I met a lot of great people. I played with a lot of talented guys, Javonte Williams, Michael Carter, Sam Howell, all those guys. I mean, I had class with them. They're still friends of mine. I still hit them up when I can, but it was an experience for sure. But I mean, I cherished every moment that I could. So
yeah, that was very well said too. And Drew, I know you were one thing I wanted to touch on. You were mentioning coaches at UNC. Remember that coach in high school that blocked me?
Yeah, me and Ward went on a I don't know. I was always, and that's the thing. I always had it in my mind. I was like, man, I'm going to UNC. I'm going to UNC. I'm going to UNC. Then Devin went, and then Javon committed, and it was like one of those things. I was like, man, all my friends are going. I've got an opportunity to play at a Power 5 school. I did turn down a few full ride offers that I had at Davidson, University of Buffalo, some smaller schools, but I was hard-headed. I was 16, 17 years old. I'm going Power 5. I don't care what anyone tells me. And I just knew that, like, I mean, if the opportunity comes around, I can make a name for myself if I can get an opportunity. But like I said, everything didn't go as planned. Injuries happened, but we had a couple recruiting visits, and I remember one of them, UNC was they were going through a growing period, and I mean, they were in and out of coaches, head coaches, position coaches, and I'm not going to say who the coach is. I mean, it doesn't really matter now, but he ended up blocking Ward on social media. Really, I mean, all Ward was just trying to get was an experience at UNC. So, I mean, I don't know why he blocked him. I mean, Ward was a recruit. So,
Drew, so I was not nearly good enough to play at UNC. I was getting recruited by smaller schools. And anyway, all my boys, I can't even remember who they played. It was a great game. And
I think it might have been the Louisville game.
It was in Louisville or Pittsburgh. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah.
But anyway, Drew, half my high school football team was going. I'm like, dude, I want to go to this game. And I went up to my coach and I said, Coach, can you get me tickets? And he said, no, the list is full. I was like, fuck. So like, all right. So I start hitting this coach up on Twitter, and we're messaging back and forth. And I'm like, hey, I'm really interested in coming to UNC. Can I come to the game this weekend and check out the facilities? And he's like, keep working hard. And I'm like, oh, you know it. But do you want to put those tickets under my name, or like whose tickets you want to put them? And then I tried to message him back, and it said you were blocked from messaging this guy. And I'm like, well, damn. And then I ended up going with Drew, and I'm like, dude, I'm not getting one of these guest passes. Screw that. So I went up to the recruiting lady. I said, hey, my name's supposed to be on there. Coach, da-da-da-da-da, put it on there. And then they gave me a regular recruiting tag. And anyway, dude, we go at the end of the game, we're in the weight room, and we go down there and talk to that coach. He daps every single person up but me. There's like 10 of us down there. He went his rounds and dapped everybody up but me. I was like, yeah, go Pack, man.
Man, I
That's
remember it
brutal.
like it was yesterday.
But that's my story on UNC.
Oh yeah,
That's brutal.
good times.
Funny story, Cam. But
That was a great story.
yeah, but let's see. Let's go ahead and that was some great fat takes. Fans love it. Keep on with the keep on with the conversations and with the comments. Let's go ahead and hop right into it. Let's hop into some top sports stories. You know, as you can see, DeAndre Hopkins signed a 2-year, $26 million deal to the Tennessee Titans. Mike Vrabel got his guy. Ryan Tannehill got his guy. Cam, Drew, tell me what you think.
Drew, I'll let
Man,
you kick this one off.
I like DeAndre Hopkins a lot. Growing up as a kid, I don't know why, but Sammy Watkins, DeAndre Hopkins, Deshaun Watson, like that trio that they had it was unbelievable. So I've kind of always been a fan of D-Hop. Always thought he's been a top 5 receiver. I mean, really for these last couple of years and really ever since he got in the league. But I honestly thought, and I'm pretty sure I texted you, Ward. I was like, man, I think he's going to go to the Patriots.
I thought he was going to go to the Patriots or the Bills.
They have no receivers, and my thing is like I know they got Devontae Parker, who's a stud, but
and they got Juju now.
Yeah, and I'm not going to talk about that, but D-Hop, I thought like he'd fit in well. Like, and I know there was a game, I think it was last year, Belichick, or not last year, but the year before, Belichick was chopping it up with D-Hop on the field, and I was like, man, who knows? Like, there could be something there in the future, but I don't know about him being on the Titans, Tannehill, the whole quarterback situation. They've got 3 good quarterbacks. So I'm kind of like, I don't really know how it's going to go. I know it's going to free up Derrick Henry for sure. So, I mean, the focal point's not going to be Derrick Henry on every single play now. So I think the Titans will for sure be better this year. I know they got a good defense, but I mean, it'll be interesting, man. I just hope that D-Hop proves everyone wrong, because I still think he's a maybe not a top 5, but top 7 receiver in the league. I know he's getting a little older, but I just hope he proves people wrong. I hope he has another 1,000-yard season, puts up some tuds. So we'll see, man.
Cam, what you think?
Yeah, man. So real quick, I just want to say, so it's 2 years, 26 million, up to 32 with incentives. Ward, I think that you went over that, but just to make it clear, DeAndre Hopkins to me is a really good receiver who's battled injuries, and again, I think he's on the downslope of his career. To be quite honest with you, the move to Tennessee doesn't really make sense to me. There's so many question marks in that quarterback room right now, with Tannehill not really producing, Levis falling to the second round, and then Malik Willis was awful last year. So I think you've got 3 really questionable quarterbacks. I do think it'll help Derrick Henry, although their offensive line has taken quite the nosedive the past couple of years, just in terms of age and talent. I do want to read off 2 names that come to mind when I think of Titans receivers, and that's Randy Moss, and the other one is blanking on me right now. Randy Moss went and was one of the top receivers, and then went to Tennessee, and his career just like went to die. Andre Johnson did the same thing. I hope that doesn't happen to D-Hop, because like Drew said, I've always liked D-Hop, but I am a realist when it comes to D-Hop. He hasn't produced the past 2 seasons due to injuries. And real quick, the last point, as much as I do like D-Hop, I feel like he's going to be remembered like as another guy. I don't think he was ever the guy in this NFL where you're like, that's the best receiver in football. He was always like the next guy up, or the guy after that guy. Like Drew said, he's always been a top 5, 6 guy, but he never took that next step, I don't feel like.
You know what? It scares me about him going to Tennessee and the thing that does scare me about Tennessee is I'm scared it's going to go into another Julio Jones situation. You look what happened to Julio Jones there, man. He just completely fell off the wagon. And I don't know. I mean, they just, Ryan Tannehill is not the guy at the end of the day. This is an offense that gives Derrick Henry the ball 20 to 25 times a game. And, running the ball drains clock. The more you drain the clock, the more you're not going to throw the ball. So I don't know, man. We'll see. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, I think, is a lot better than Julio was at the time when they were picked up by the Titans. Julio was out of his prime at that point. But, yeah, that was pretty shocking. Price-wise, too, I know there's been a lot of There's been a lot of people arguing about whether he was underpaid, whether he was overpaid. But yeah, speaking of getting paid, what I want to get into, this running back drama in the NFL is getting bananas, boys, getting bananas. Saquon has not been re-signed yet. Josh Jacobs has not been re-signed yet. And then Tony Pollard, they didn't pick up his long-term deal. You go and look at the free agency. You look at all the running backs on the board. Is running backs important in the NFL anymore?
Man, the league's definitely really college, the NFL, it's become more of a passing game, of course. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I understand why these receivers are getting paid out the ass. I mean, I understand it. But my thing is like when you got a guy like Saquon Barkley, you got a guy, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler, these guys are touching the ball, catching it out of the backfield 25, 30 times a game, and you're spitting $9-10 million a year while you're paying your O linemen and all these other guys 15, 20, $25 million. It's like, man, running back's still one of the most explosive positions on the field. I mean, there's only a couple positions on the field where, on offense, of course, where you can score. And I mean, running backs set the tone. I mean, what's the first play in the NFL typically? It's a HB dive or it's a power. They establish the game typically, I mean, really in every single quarter. So, I mean, when you got a guy like Saquon, who, I mean, in my opinion, is probably one of the most athletic guys in the league, for you to come around and be like, oh, here's 10, 9, 10, 11 million. I'm not sure exactly what his offer was, but I mean, my thing is, yeah, I mean, these guys want to get paid a ridiculous amount sometimes, but I honestly don't think Saquon's asking for a shit ton of money. I mean, it's one of those things where, I mean, they know, the whole staff knows themselves. That dude's the most athletic guy on that team. Mm-hmm. He deserves to get paid. Mm-hmm. Dalvin Cook's one that I don't understand whatsoever, and I don't know why people are scared to pick him up. But, I mean, like you said, Ward, there's a lot of talent at the running back position, so I kind of understand that side of things where, like, oh, yeah, because a lot of these guys with their winnings guaranteed money. So, and I get it. I mean, it's a position where you're going to get hit every play, whether you're blocking or whether you're toting it. So my thing is I get it where, of course, you got to look at the injury side of things and, hey, you can get injured on any other play. But the other thing across that is that, I mean, anyone can get injured. I mean, you can get injured not touching anyone on the field. Most fields these days are turf. So, I mean, you look at all the ACL injuries that are happening. So I get it. But, I mean, you got a guy like Saquon. You got a guy like Tony Pollard. You got to pay him, man. You just do.
Cam, what's your opinion? Then I'll get mine.
Yeah, you guys already know my opinion. I think as important as the running back position is, running back is a position that you don't need a star. Just to talk about Saquon, I mean, the best ability is availability. The dude's been hurt for 3 out of his 5 seasons. Mm-hmm. You talk about Tony Pollard. What did Tony Pollard do? When Zeke got hurt, who was a high-paid running back, he came in on a rookie deal and balled out. I think that you can get a day 3 running back every draft and cycle through them. That's what I think. I would rather have 2 day 3 running backs or undrafted free agents than give Saquon $15 million. That's just me. As explosive and great as Saquon is, I had this same conversation as a Steelers fan when Le'Veon Bell was holding out and James Conner came in and rushed for 1,300 yards. They're different level of ball players, but if a running back's going to come in and a backup can get you 1,300 yards, why am I going to pay this star $17 million when I can pay this guy $500,000 on a rookie deal? So that's always been my thing with running backs. Now, if it was 10, 15 years ago, I'd be in your group, Drew, because those guys toted the ball 40 times a game. That's just not the league anymore. You need guys that can catch the ball. Really, the only untouchable running back in my mind is Derrick Henry, who got hurt last year. And one quick point on the Dalvin Cook thing, we watched Alexander Mattison come in last year when Dalvin Cook got hurt and play better than Dalvin did last year. So that's my thing with the running backs. Running back is so predicated on how good your offensive line is and how good your blocking schemes are and when you run and when you don't, that having the tier between the top guys and the bottom guys is so close compared to other positions that I don't believe that you should take a chunk of your salary cap to pay those guys. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand. Like, I totally get where you're coming from, but it's just my thing is like, and I mean, you don't even got to pay him the 15 million or whatever it is. And I understand they're really just after the guaranteed money is what it really all comes down to. But I'm a Saquon fan, so I'm kind of biased. I mean, he Heisman runner up. He didn't win a Heisman, did he?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, he was a Heisman runner up.
He was a runner up. He was behind Bryce.
Yeah, he was with Bryce, I remember. But I mean, he's got his Penn State career was amazing, and it's like one of those things. Like I said, injuries are going to happen, man. It doesn't matter what level of ball you play; they're going to happen. And my thing is Saquon's still young. He's been in the what? How long has he been in the league? What, 5 years, 6 years?
5 years, yeah.
I mean,
he's going into his 5th year, I believe.
Yeah. So I mean, he's still relatively young. I know he's still got the 4.4 speed in him, the elusiveness. I know everything's there. My thing with Dalvin Cook, like you said, Cam, I think Alexander Madison played better than him when Dalvin went down. What I don't understand about the Dalvin deal is why is no one interested in him? Like, there's not 32 running backs out there in this league that are better than Dalvin Cook. So my thing is why hasn't he been signed anywhere? Is it the money, or is no one really just honestly interested in him?
Yeah.
My question.
Interesting take for sure. And I'm kind of in the middle personally. I know for the sake of time, we'll move on. I'm kind of in the middle with everybody's opinions with the running backs. But moving on, I want to talk to y'all. So there's been a lot of controversy behind this, and it is Madden 24 ratings. So and they're still coming out with them. But starting on Monday through, I think it's Monday through Friday, that EA Sports is coming out with all of the ratings or all the overalls for all the players. And, obviously these players, half of them are our age. We all grew up playing Madden. They pay attention to this stuff. So I just want to let you guys know, as a Redskins or as a Commanders fan, we're finally getting some respect. Terry McLaurin is the 7th wide receiver this year, 7th out of the top 10. And a little bit of controversy. He is ranked above – Terry McLaurin's a 92 overall, by the way, and he is ranked above A.J. Brown, Amari Cooper, and C.D. Lamb. A.J. Brown is the one where I'm kind of iffy about, but I think he's better personally. I mean, the two that are ranked above Terry McLaurin are Jamar Chase and Stephon Diggs. So, I don't know. As a Redskins fan, I love it, but was there any rankings that shocked y'all the most?
For me, I mean, being honest, I thought this year was one of the more accurate years.
Yeah.
I know there's been past years where like I was just blown away. Like I was just blown away on some of these rookies. And my thing is, I didn't ever understand with Madden is like, yeah, I get it. Like the rookies have improved themselves. But like when a lot of these guys came in the league, they were giving them like 69, 72 overall. So I'm like, man, at least give them like upper 70s, low 80s if they're a top pick in the league.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I looked at it briefly. I didn't really go over it too much, but I'm glad Justin Jefferson got a 99. He deserved it. Jamar Chase and Diggs for sure deserve to be higher than McLaurin. I mean, Terry's definitely a top 10 receiver in my opinion.
He is.
His route running skills are unbelievable. I don't know if he's higher than Coop. I don't
even know if Coop is in this list. Let me see. Talking about Cooper Kupp or Amari Cooper. Oh, okay, Amari Cooper. Yeah. AJ Brown and CD Lamb are a little iffy, but
yeah, AJ Brown and CD because CD. I don't know, dude. CD Lamb and AJ Brown they're dogs. So
yeah, I think he's better than CD Lamb, but I don't know about AJ Brown. And AJ Brown just has an MVP quarterback. Terry McLaurin's had eight starting quarterbacks
That's
in the past 3 years.
It's hard to come up with those ratings because you got to factor in everyone else. So
Cam, who shocked you the most? Any Steelers players?
I don't know if anybody shocked me. I don't really pay attention to Madden until it comes out. I'm big on the wave of I'm not going to buy Madden, and then I see everybody play Madden. I'm like, I got to get it. I haven't really paid attention. I know Mika Fitzpatrick was the second-rated free safety behind Derwin James, which I agreed with. I think he's 1 or 2 when it comes to free safeties, but I haven't really looked at anything else. The one thing I did notice, Ward, is Aaron Donald is now the most decorated Madden player. This is his 7th year in a row being part of the 99 club. I mean, we don't talk about him enough, but we're literally watching one of the greatest defensive players ever play the game.
Which is awesome. And then I know, speaking of decorated Madden players, I want to give a shout out to Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence came in this year at a 93 overall. He's a second-rated defensive tackle ratings-wise. The only one above him is Chris Jones. So, me and Drew playing with that guy, growing up with him, and Wake Forest high school legend. Shout out to Dex.
Man,
let's get him on the pod too.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah,
I think he's too cool to be on this pod. He wants to be on more on like, pardon my take.
Man, that man's tied up in all types of shit. I know that. But I'm looking at the safeties Madden ratings. Man, how old is Harrison Smith?
Dude, I saw a top 10 list with Harrison Smith on it. I could not believe it, bro. That guy's not good at football anymore. He was good 4 years ago. He's not good at football anymore.
I mean, he's one of those downhill hitting safeties, which I respect. I mean, I kind of had a similar play style to him, but I don't know, dude. He's got to be pushing 35 or so. I mean, he's been a 90 overall for the last 10 years, I feel like.
It really does. And he's been a really good ball player for a long time, but I don't know. Madden goes a lot to me like with what have you done instead of like what are you going to do? Like I remember Eric Weddle was like at 86 until he retired. And I was like, dude, this guy is a rotational safety.
Yeah. Crazy.
But anyways, real quick on top stories just to round it out. Steph Curry got a hole-in-one. I don't know if you guys saw that. That was electric.
The man can do everything.
There's no reason a person should be able to be that good at basketball and hit hole-in-ones. It's ridiculous.
The man can do everything.
He can probably throw a football 70 yards.
Yeah.
Hey, some people are just blessed, man, and that guy won the genetics lottery apparently because there's nothing that guy can't do. It seems like. But last thing, real quick, and then we'll get into the Fat Katz draft. LeBron is switching back to 23 from 6. So he started in LA at 23, moved to 6, and now he's moving back to 23 out of respect for the past Bill. Somebody help me out.
Bill Russell. Or Walt, one of the two. The old head.
It was Russell. Bill Russell passed away last year, and they retired at number 6 league-wide. So he's moving back to 23. With that being said, we're going to get into the Fat Katz draft. I think we're going to go 3 per just for time's sake here. So 3 picks. We're going to go Drew first, Ward second, me third. We're doing 1-year wonders this year throughout all of sports. So, Drew, since you're our guest, we're going to give you the T-box. Who is your 1-year wonder?
My 1-year wonder. Are we going off of the previous years or like who's going to be the 1-year wonder this year?
Previous years.
Previous years, all throughout sports. So it could be 2000, it could be 1980, whatever you want.
I'm going to have to say, I don't know if he was a 1-year wonder or he was a 2-year wonder, but I know he didn't last long, but RG3.
Oh, come on, man. That was my number 1.
That he bunch of ACL tears, I know, killed him, but hell of an athlete. But hey, Ward, Redskins, what he had like 2 3,500-yard seasons, and then it went to 600-yard seasons.
Yeah,
so.
he was good for really good in 2012, and then 2013, 2014, he just was hurt. And 2012 was when he was really good. And Drew, I hate you said that because I was literally sending Cam videos today saying this is what this guy could have been, like his highlight reel. But great pick, by the way. I'm gonna go with my 1. And I was talking to Cam on the phone yesterday, and I immediately thought of this. I said, Cam, throw this guy's name down. This individual had the whole state of New York thinking that they were the next Lakers. They were the next. This is when LeBron was playing for the Heat. They were the next Miami Heat. They were the next. Who else is really good? The next Spurs. Jeremy Lin. Linsanity. They even made T-shirts about this little fella. He was good for 1 year, maybe 2 years. year and a half. He came out, he lit it up, was playing great, and then he just completely fell off like a slide, man. Just, but yeah, that's my one.
I like it. My favorite Jeremy Lin clip is him waving off Kobe with 3 seconds left in the game and taking a shot to win the game. But my number one, I'm going to go with Peyton Hillis here. Peyton Hillis in 2010 had 270 attempts for 1,177 yards and 13 touchdowns. He never had another year over 600 yards rushing in his career after that year.
That's a great one, Cam.
I got another one, too, who not a lot of people think about, but was a dog in college. I think came in around the same time as RG3, but Trent Richardson.
Oh, yeah, dude, that's a great one.
And he came in, I think his first year he had like a 1,100-yard season or something like that.
He was on Cleveland, right?
Yeah, he was on Cleveland, and I mean he was their primary back because I think it was like Hillis left. I think it was like around that 2013 year. But I mean, he was a dog at Bama, and then gets to the league, played 1 year, had a good year, and then never heard of him again. So
that's a great one. And I'm going to go ahead and move on, too. I'm going with a different sport here. So my 1 year wonder is actually going to be, this was just pre-COVID, 2019, and it's the UFC reigning BMF title winner, and he just relinquished his title, but Jorge Masvidal. You look at 2018, 19, end of 2018, 2019. Drew, I was actually at your house watching this when I figured out who this guy was. He landed that flying knee knockout on Ben Askren. Well, that wasn't the first one. The first one's when he knocked out up-and-coming Darren Till in England. Then he started talking shit to the fans, which was pretty cool. Darren Till's from England. And then in 2019, July of 2019, he knocked out Ben Askren with that flying knee, fastest UFC knockout ever. One knee wonder, whatever, call him what you want. And then at the end of that year, Drew and Cam, he came out and he headlined, I don't know what UFC pay-per-view it was, but it was for that BMF title, and he fought Nate Diaz and beat the hell out of him. And then after that, he hasn't won a fight since.
He had the Kobe fight. I remember that.
Yeah, he had the Kobe fight and got his ass beat for 5 rounds.
Yeah, I know.
But what happened after the fight, though, Ward?
He hit him from behind.
I got all the respect for him, though. He realized that he can't fight anymore with these young bucks. So I'm glad he's hung it up. So
yeah, it's just crazy how a guy can beat 3 like top tier opponents within an 18-month time span, and then for 3.5 years not win a fight. I mean, he went 0-5 during that time period.
This isn't my guy, but somebody who reminds me of that is Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland during COVID fought like 6 fights in a year and a half, and I don't think he's won a fight since. Mm-hmm. But shout out to Trailblazer Kevin Holland. My pick here, and I don't know, you guys may not know this guy, but he's like burned into my brain for some reason. Sidney Rice. In 2009, he had 83 receptions for 1,300 yards and 8 touchdowns, and made a Pro Bowl for the Vikings. Never had another season. Well, he had one other season with over 450 yards, and the rest were under 450 yards.
It's a good one, Cam.
And you bringing up Sidney Rice made me think of Kelvin Benjamin.
That's a good one, too. I had that written down.
He came in the league, FSU star. I mean, I remember watching games as a kid and watching Kelvin. I mean, 6'6", could jump over anyone, moss anyone. Gets to the Panthers. I think he had a good first and second year, but then once the Panthers let him go, haven't heard from him since.
That's a good one. Great one. And actually, speaking of Panthers, I'm going to go ahead and throw this one in. And for any of our Panthers listeners, I'm sorry that I'm bringing this up, and this might cause some controversy. And Drew, I'm sorry, but my third 1 year wonder is going to be Josh Norman. Josh Norman was mediocre for his first 2 years in Carolina, his first year he was mediocre. I think it was his second and possibly his third. He was okay. He blew up the last year of his rookie deal. And then the Redskins came in and paid him like $17 million a year to come in and just absolutely be awful for us. He ended up being the corner 2 after his second year with us on a 4-year stint. But he played right. He played great when the time mattered. He got paid, and then he just shit the bed, and then he really he really shit the bed when he got stiff armed by Derrick Henry last year, or 2
He's
years ago.
he got signed by someone. He's playing for someone this year, isn't he?
I know he was on the was it the Titans last time I checked? No, not the Titans. He was on the Bills last time I checked. I don't know who he's on now.
I'm pretty sure someone signed him this year, but I thought I saw something. Who knows?
Josh Norman is the reason you don't pay cover 3 corners.
Yeah.
But here coming in with my last pick, I believe, I'm going to go with Steve Slayton. And Steve Slayton was a running back who went to WVU. In 2008, as a rookie, he had 268 attempts, 1,300 yards, and 10 touchdowns. Here's his next 3 seasons, guys. 437 yards, 93 yards, 84 yards out of the league.
Mm-hmm.
If that's not a one-year wonder, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Did I skip your second pick, Ward?
No, I did all 3 of mine.
Okay. Any honorable mentions from you guys? I've got a bunch.
I had all mine written down, got crossed off, so none for me.
I've just been going off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I don't think I can think of anyone else.
And that's another thing too, Cam. I did no research. I didn't even look. I just wrote this down on pen and paper right before we started our podcast, just thinking out loud. I didn't do any research, so I'm sure I missed a ton.
Well, you guys know me. I can't stand to not do research. So here's my honorable mentions. I've got Michael Carter-Williams, played point guard for the Sixers. He's the 2013 Rookie of the Year, averaged 17, 6, and 6. Never played over 60 games again in his career. I've got Tyreek Evans, who was a shooting guard for the Kings. He's the 09 Rookie of the Year, averaged 25 and 6. He went down in points per game every single year of his career. Rex Grossman had 1 year in 06 where he took the Bears to a 13-3 record, passed for 3,200 yards and 23 touchdowns.
Guess who paid him? Washington did. And then we traded 4 first-round draft picks to get RG3 because he sucked.
He only started 16 games 1 year after that. I've got Devin Harris is a good one. In 08, he was an all-star, averaged 22 points per game and 7 assists. He never averaged over 17 points a game, and most of his career was under double digits. Aaron Brooks was the 09 most improved player in the NBA for the Rockets. He averaged 20 points per game. Never another season in his career did he average over 12. And my last one is a guy before our time, fellas, but I'm sure Weezy and my pops will like this one. It's Michael Adams. In 91, he averaged 27 points per and 11 assists. He was an all-star, and he never averaged over 18 points or 7 assists again in his career.
Mm-hmm.
So that is our Fat Katz draft of one-year wonders and some honorable mentions. If we missed anybody, again, I'm sure
let us know.
We didn't touch baseball, so all you baseball nerds, I'm sure you guys have got millions to throw my way. But moving on, real quick in the college basketball world, my Kentucky Wildcats went up to Global Jam and won a gold medal. They went 4-0 in this event, Ward. The past 2 seasons, Baylor and Kansas have went up there, and neither one have been over 500 in this tournament. Kentucky did not lose a game. You know I was really low on this Kentucky team going into this tournament, Ward.
High on them now.
My favorite tradition in Kentucky sports is watching a summer tournament and going, oh, that team's winning a national championship.
Yeah.
It happens every year. This year is no different. So shout out to my Kentucky guys. Shout out Coach Cal. And real quick, Vanderbilt and Coach Jerry Stackhouse has hired John Calipari's son, Brad, to be the director of player development. So I'm sure you guys don't have any thoughts on that because I don't. Real quick, in the NFL world, Evan Ingram inks a 3-year extension with the Jags. I will say, Ward, if I was a running back, this would make me mad because Evan Ingram is not a great tight end, and he's getting 3-year extensions, but Saquon can't. I understand where the
what do you get paid?
I think it was 36.
Yeah, he got paid 12.
So he's making $12 million a year, basically. But real quick, I don't have the numbers, but Quinnen Williams got paid by the Jets. He signed an extension. And then
I think it's 4 year and 97 mil or something like that, or 5 year 97. It's 5 year 97 mil, I believe.
Okay. And then Alex Highsmith with the Steelers just got extended today for 5 years, $68 million. This brings up a question I want to ask you real quick, Drew. Who is the best player you played with at North Carolina? or who will get the biggest contract out of guys that you played with in North Carolina?
At UNC or in the state of North Carolina?
At UNC.
Damn, that's a tough
Because
question.
Dex is the answer the other way. We already know that. So we'll stay at UNC.
Man, that's tough. I mean, there's a lot of good ones, man. De'Ami Brown, I think, is gonna have a good year this year. He's been working his ass off. He's got a YouTube channel too. I've been diving into that, checking him out. Javon, I mean, you got Javonte, Sam. Probably being honest with you, I think Javonte's got the most potential to be the biggest star. I mean, I've been texting him a little bit, talking to him when I can. He said he's full. He did ACL too. He said he's fully recovered though. He said he's on track. So I pray that dude can have 1,000-yard rushing. I mean, when you look at an all-around running back, I mean, granted, he's not a 4.3 guy, but people were scared to hit him at practice.
Oh, yeah. And he was balling out in fantasy, too. I had him on my team. But, yeah, I don't know where Cam went. I think Cam dropped off. He just texted me and said his computer messed up. So, Drew, we'll close out. We'll do our pet peeve of the week, and then we'll leave full plate, empty stomach for kind of that's Cam's things. I don't want to steal his thunder. But Drew, you give me your pet peeve of the week. I introduce this segment to you, and then we'll move on. And I'll give you mine, and we'll move on.
Yeah, I kind of looked at it when you kind of gave me somewhat of an outline of the podcast, and I was like, "What is this?" But pretty cool idea. My pet peeve, and it happens almost every day. If I'm driving for more than 10 minutes, it happens. People get over in that left lane. And I mean, I'm not the fastest driver, but I'm the type of guy where if it's 70 miles per hour, I'm running 80, 82, sometimes 84. But people get over in this left lane, man, and they'll go 58 miles per hour in a 70 mile per hour road. And I'm like,
oh yeah,
there's a lane for you, and it's called the right lane.
Hey, so that's Walter right there, buddy.
I'm like, come on, man. Come on.
No, but I love it. That's a great one. I probably need to write that one down and use it in the future since Cam's not here. But my pet peeve of the week today, and I'm going to go ahead and shout out my buddy James Fry for this, is people who eat boneless wings. I think that is the most beta move in history you can do is eat boneless wings. Be a man and order the real thing. Boneless wings aren't chicken wings. They're just little pieces of scrap that are thrown together and thrown in a fryer. Get real wings.
That's all they are. It's just chicken tenders.
If you're going to get chicken tenders, order chicken tenders. Don't get boneless wings. Don't be, it's like a beta thing to do. It's like,
man, my thing is this. If I have an option, I'm going to go regular wings.
Thank you.
But if someone buys me some boneless wings, I'm not turning them down.
You look, Drew, you remind me of a boneless wing kind of guy. People that eat boneless wings also drink Bug Light. So I'm just going to throw that one out there.
Hey, all I know is if it's free food and it's sitting there and it looks good, I'm eating it. So I don't care if it's bone in, bone out. I'm eating it.
Yeah. But we'll go ahead and move. So I introduced you to the full plate, empty stomach segment. And, it's going to be your star, your ceiling, and your floor. So I'll go ahead and kick it off with my full plate this week. It's actually going to be the streaming service Netflix. Drew, we talked about it earlier. Netflix is dropping bombs right now, man. I don't know if anybody has watched a quarterback show with Patrick Mahomes and Marcus Mariota and Kirk Cousins, but it's an insider of their life during season, which is awesome to see. And, you love to see it. It gives you some behind the scenes. They're also coming out something that's really cool. They're coming out with a documentary on the Florida Gators when Tim Tebow was there and Hernandez is there, which is awesome. They're also coming out with a documentary about Johnny Manziel, which is awesome. It gives us a chance to see what was actually going on, the inside scenes, which is pretty cool. And then my empty stomach this week is actually going to be the Commanders ratings. We had a lot of guys go really low. I have two honorable mentions that I want to mention here. Daron Payne, not sure if anybody knows who he is. He actually just got the fourth biggest defensive lineman contract ever. He was a Pro Bowler this year, and they gave him an 81 overall, which is kind of interesting to me because they gave Jonathan Allen, who Daron Payne had better stats than this past year. They line up right beside each other. They gave Jonathan Allen a 91. So that's really interesting. But yeah, and then another one is Jahan Dotson, first-round pick out of Penn State last year. They gave Jahan Dotson a 77 overall. He led our team in touchdowns last year with 3 different starting quarterbacks. So interesting statistic there. Cam, welcome back, my brother. Let's hear your full plate empty stomach.
Yeah, man. Technical difficulties coming on to the guy big time. Pet peeve of the week real quick. I want to say guys who take slow pitch softball and rec sports too seriously. Can't stand it. I witnessed a fight break out in a slow pitch softball game this week between like two 40-year-old men getting mad about slow pitch softball. So don't be that guy. We'll make that a hashtag of the week. Don't be that guy.
Hey, what about the fight in the intramural basketball championship? Were those guys taking it too serious?
You guys are college guys. It's a lot of testosterone and alcohol like put together. These guys are 40-year-old men with families watching their games. Like, let's chill out a little bit. That's my opinion. But full play, I'm going to go Kentucky men's basketball, like I touched on earlier. 1 global jam. And then my empty stomach is the running back position, as I've already touched on, probably a little bit too much in this episode.
Drew, let's hear it, brother.
Yeah, kind of a segment I'm not too used to, but mine was the NFL rookies. I mean, overall, with my favorite sport, of course, being football. I mean, I always like to look at the rookies and the young bucks coming into the league, looking at what they can do, what they can offer. I'm excited for your Redskins or your Commanders, I should say. Sam Howell, I hope can turn it around for the guys. Like you said, Jahan Dotson, dog, De'Ami Brown, dog, Terry McLaurin, superstar. They've got, I feel like, all the pieces they need. They got a good quarterback. I feel like Sam's the type of guy where he's going to lead them in the right direction. They got a good running back. I mean, they've got all the pieces they need. The guy out at Seattle, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he played at Ohio State. I'm excited for him. I think him and DK will be a good duo. There's a lot of guys in this draft this year that I think have a chance to really make a positive impact on the teams they're playing for. So it'll be an exciting season for sure.
I agree. The Commanders are only missing one player, though. That linebacker, they need that stud middle linebacker that they're missing. They haven't picked up that stud linebacker. Hey, they don't even got to give me the jersey. I already bought the jersey. Just give me some pads. I don't have my shoulder pads in my helmet anymore, but I'm ready to fill in, man. Hey, Kentucky boy, what's his name again? Drawing a blank. First round pick 2 years ago.
Jamin
Davis. He's been struggling for us. The big dog's ready to come in.
I do want to say real quick, Drew, before you do your empty stomach, Jackson Smith and Jibba is the guy you're thinking of. Yeah. And did you guys get a chance to see the Seahawks throwback uniforms that they unveiled today?
I did not. No.
Yeah, the royal blue ones. Yeah, I did.
Yes, bro. They're sick. Like the old school Steve Largent, Brian Bosworth jersey ward. They're awesome.
Yeah, the good retro. I'm glad they're bringing that stuff back. So.
But Drew, did you go over your empty stomach?
I'm not sure if it's an empty stomach or what it is, but like you said, I just hope everything gets taken care of when it comes to these unsigned guys, whether it's running back, whether it's receivers. I don't care what position you play. The NFL is a business where, of course, you got guys coming in every year. I mean, you're taking the top elite guys from all over the United States and putting them in a league. And, I mean, you start off with a roster that's 100 players. They narrow it down to, 52, I think. So I just hope people, all these guys that deserve it, get the money that they want, get the guaranteed money that they need. And, I mean, I hope both parties can work things out. But like I said, I'm a big Saquon fan. I hope Saquon gets paid no matter whether it's with the Giants or whoever it's with. But I hope both parties figure it out and we can get the season rolling this year. So
great one, Drew.
I love it. I do want to say, first of all, before we get out of here, thanks to Drew for hopping on, man. This has been long awaited and you did a great job, man. You're a natural. you got a pretty face like that. A camera doesn't really do much to you, I guess. But you did
Drew's a natural podcaster.
He did a great job, Ward. He did way better than me and you did on our first episode. I promise you that.
Drew, I can say it's been an absolute pleasure, brother. Anytime you want to come join the boys,
I appreciate it. I mean, hey, let me know. Man, I love sports. I'm not a big baseball guy, but if you're talking basketball, I love basketball. NBA, particularly. I don't watch too much college basketball, but NBA, NFL, college football, shit. If y'all have any topics that are around that, I'll hop on, man, when I can. So I appreciate y'all.
I'm gonna go ahead and speak for the Fat Katz here. We are the definition of a football, basketball, UFC podcast. Sometimes some golf might get thrown in there because the British Open is coming up this weekend, which Drew wanted to talk about. We didn't talk about that. That's for another day.
Oh man, hey, turn it on tomorrow. The guys will be out there dealing with those 8-foot bunkers. So
yeah,
Drew, do you have any locks? Do you have any locks for that? Like any bets that you like?
Man, I just actually did a little DraftKings. It's so hard to do those things though because they give you like 50 grand to spin, and this player's 15,000. So it's hard to put together. I hope. I like Rory.
Yep.
I'd like to see Rory win. I think Scotty Scheffler's gonna have a tough time out there. I just feel like that course is not really his play style, but shit, who knows? He's what, number 1 in the world right now. So I think Rory's got a good chance. Cameron Smith, of course, he's always in the talk, but it'll be interesting. Like I said, you got 4 days of golf at 1 hole. It'll be interesting.
If I had to hammer a money line, I'm hammering Rory money line to win it all. He just won this past weekend. Literally, ESPN was talking about today how he's on a major title slump. He can't win a major. He chokes. That's just pouring gasoline on that man's fire. He sees that he's going to get pissed off and he's going to come out there and hit the hell out of the ball. So
I don't know. I don't even know if he's playing in this tournament, but look out for Colin Morikawa, man. That guy can hit a golf ball.
I think Morikawa was playing.
But real quick, I do want to remind everybody before we get out of here, again, Spotify and YouTube at the Fat Katz Podcast. That's KATZ. Guys, we got to get the likes up. We got to get the comments up. We had 140 views on one of our videos and 4 likes. Let's go. So let's get that up. Let's leave a like, leave a comment, all that good stuff. You can find us on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Fat Katz Pod. And before we get out of here, we got Song of the Week. Ward, Drew, let's hear it, brother.
New Jason Aldean song. It's very good. Go check it out. It's actually about some current issues going on in the U.S., and it's just a very heartwarming song about people that come from small towns. It's called Try That in a Small Town by Jason Aldean. Check it out.
For me, I've been listening to rap since I was a youngin', but I love country too. I'd probably say I like country and rap. Those are really the only genres I listen to, but Lil Baby just dropped a single. I don't know if it's going to be part of an album or who knows what he has plans with everything he's got going on, but Merch Madness by Lil Baby. Good song, Ward. Listen to it. I know you'll probably listen to it while you're at the gym, so go ahead and take a listen to it, man.
Love it, Drew.
And to round it out here, I'm going to go Iron Man by Black Sabbath. That's a shout out to Papa T, man. He loves that song, so... That is episode 16. Drew, again, thanks for coming on, man. We really enjoyed it. And Ward, that's another one in the books, man.
The boys are back. Hey, if anybody comes up and takes me up on it, me and Drew will buy you a beer. So the boys are back. Episode 16 is live. By the time you're hearing this, the boys are live. We will owe you a beer if you come and ask us for it. But Drew, it's been an absolute pleasure, brother. Thank you so much. And I look forward to playing golf with you this weekend.
We're gonna
have a good time.
Cam, always good hearing from you, man. Hope everything's good out your way. And Ward,
see you soon. Hey, appreciate y'all listening. Cam, love you, brother. Good to see you. Drew, been a pleasure, brother.
No doubt. Appreciate y'all, man.